Also, for the intro, we were super awkward in that last episode. So I'm thinking doing something like...
Are you open-minded?
No, but more like, because we got to say each other's names as well. So be like,
okay.
Hey, Annie, and then, hey, Sam, and then, are you open-minded?
Okay,
like that.
Oh, okay, that's a cute intro.
Yeah, I think an intro is super important.
Okay.
So we'll try it out. Okay. Hey, Annie.
Hey, Sam.
Are you open-minded?
Open-minded.
Okay, maybe that could be okay. I don't know. We'll work on it.
For now.
We'll workshop it.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, how you doing? It's been a while.
It has a whole week.
A whole week.
A whole 7 days.
Yeah, we were originally going to just do like 2 minutes, or I'm sorry, 2 times a month, but we just decided to hit the ground running, you know?
Exactly. I mean, the first episode was kind of like popping off,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
A lot of people had some really nice feedback. So I was just like, hey, like, let's just make this a weekly thing.
Yeah. Let's just, because we're getting a lot of feedback. We're getting a lot more views than we anticipated.
Yeah.
I think looking at it now, I think we're at like 4,000 views.
Yeah,
and
something like that when you're just starting out. And we only posted like 1 story each about it.
Yeah.
We're kind of popping.
I know.
And on TikTok as well. Like the first, we do TikTok as well.
Right.
And the first video is at like 20,000 views right now. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Is that the one where I'm talking shit about Korea?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's I gotta be so careful with the stories that I bring out on here because I know because obviously I trust you. But yeah, there are definitely gonna be some stories that we just cannot clip out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's certain stories like the last podcast.
Right.
Where context is so important, like the whole context, and you can't just cut it into like a 1 minute thing. And I've been the victim of being on a podcast and then things are like shortened and like clipped, and I just looked like a crazy person. So I definitely understand your worries, but don't worry. Like,
no, I trust you. I know that because you specifically were. 당했다는 거. You suffered a little bit of like those mishaps that happen on maybe other podcasts, so you're a little bit more aware, a little bit more sensitive about that stuff.
Exactly.
So, I'm glad. I trust you.
Thanks.
Please don't get me cancelled.
I'll try.
Yeah.
Or both of us cancelled, because one of the things I said in our first ever podcast kind of ruffled some feathers. Like, it ruffled the feathers of one particular person. Everyone else in the comments like gets it.
Yeah.
And it was my comment about like how to fix the birth rate in Korea. And I made a joke. Oh
man. Okay.
You even said like,
Dude,
I don't want to get cancelled after the first episode.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, and like everyone got it, but just for the people that need a little bit more hand holding when it gets to the point.
Right.
Like I said, you know, Korea's birth rate is very low. Bring in a bunch of Nigerians and they'll help you repopulate, because even there was Nigerians in the comments like laughing, being like, oh my God, that's so crazy, but that's so funny and so right. And that's the thing. Like, and I said, like, as a half Nigerian who has multiple people across the world, multiple half siblings. So like, I feel like this was like self-deprecation to some point.
Sure.
And then someone decided, I'll go out on a limb and say this was an African American, because they very much equated what I said to how dare you say something like that when during slavery, like, black men were used to breed and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I understand that aspect, and I would understand if that was like not okay for me to say if I was like saying it as a non-African person or non-African person of descent. But like, I'm part of that community. Like,
right, you have the right to like make a joke at your expense. Sure,
exactly. Like, if I'm gonna have trauma, like, I might as well like make light of it in some aspect at least.
Yeah.
But this person was like commenting back to multiple people in the comments. And specifically there was one person who was just like, oh my God, the Nigerians are gonna come for you. And then he replied and he was like, yeah, well, they should, as they should, because blah, blah, blah. And that shows me that person wasn't even Nigerian, so why are you getting offended for someone else?
On the behalf of other people.
Yeah, and then there's other things like, I started a whole paragraph and I was like, let me save it for the podcast. But they were just like, why are you making comments like this when your whole entire audience is 98% Asian? And I was like, are you in our analytics or something? Like, what are you talking about? Like, first of all, that's not true. Like, if anything, it's probably like 2% Asian.
It's
and
probably
like,
more like based in the Western world, like America, Canada. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's all to say that I will continue making jokes about whatever I want to make jokes about.
Right.
You're just hanging outside the club, basically.
I was just shocked that you called out like Nigerians specifically. Like I was just
They're known for that. That's the thing. Like it's like an inside joke. And I understand if I was like a white person or an Asian person saying that, that's like, ooh, that's weird.
Yeah. And I had no idea you were Nigerian or part Nigerian either. So I was like, okay, like you got beef with Nigerians. Okay.
No, like it's just like you kind of know about it. And it's the same as if you like were to make a joke about like Koreans.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, you know, I know that
if there was a kimchi shortage, bring in the Koreans to make more you know.
If so the reason why I don't get attacked on like TikTok or Instagram for the shit that I say is because like I'm a Korean guy, right? So if I can talk shit about Korean men, it's fine because I'm a Korean guy.
Right.
But like on the other hand, you are kind of known for talking mess about Korean men, and you get a lot of flack for that as well. You get a lot of support, but you get some flack as well.
Like the whole like she's only attacking Korean men is not true. It just so happens that I'm talking about Korea,
right?
Because I live in Korea. If I was living in any other country, I would be talking about the men of that country. So
it just so happens that like your most popular content is
it's just like it just so happens that contextually it makes sense for me to talk about. Like I've made TikToks about experiences where I've experienced creepy experiences with non-Korean men, but still in Korea. This is where I live. Like so the bulk of my stories when it comes to like men being weird is Korean men, and I think contextually it makes sense for me to specify they were Korean because at the end of the day, the situations I find myself in, I would not find myself in if I was a Korean woman.
Right.
So
there's gonna be some overlap.
Like contextually, I have to specify, and it makes sense. That's my whole point. Like this Korean man followed me home. Contextually makes sense because Korea is known to be this safe country, and you wouldn't expect a Korean man to follow you home. Actually, one of the first times I was ever followed home was when I was staying at a guest house, and this guy like tried to like
I remember the story. Yes.
Right?
This was not in Korea actually, was it?
No, it was in Korea.
Oh, okay.
It was in Korea. It happened in Hongdae, and like I went for a midnight snack, and he followed me off the street, and he went upstairs with me.
Right.
And like I shut the door, and it was like a glass door, and I saw him, like we made eye contact, and he tried to like open the door.
Oh yes, I remember this story as well.
Thank God it was password protected. And I was staying at a guest house where like the female floor was on the 3rd floor and the male floor was on the 4th floor. So I was like, oh, maybe he just got confused or something.
Yeah.
And then when I reported it to like the owners, they were so surprised when I said, oh, he like they looked him up on CCTV and they were like, wait, he was Korean? And they were so shocked. So like even the Koreans are like, wait, what? Like this is a Korean man doing this? But yeah, later on, just to finish the story, on when they looked on the CCTV, they realized he didn't even live in the place. He was just some random man who saw me walking and was just like, yeah, I'm gonna follow her home.
Great.
So yeah, I hate equally. If that had been like a foreign man, if it had been a foreign man, I would have, hated on.
Right. You would have called him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even pre me being a Korea content creator, like I was talking about men.
I've seen your videos. I remember when I first met you, I was like, oh, who's this person? And I would look back in your previous videos, and yeah, it was other story times and stuff like that of like, I think you were in Europe at a time as well, and there was somebody that was like looking through like the peephole of your door or something like that. I can't remember specifically.
Surprise me. Men are men wherever you go, but it just so happens that like I'm in Korea now, so I'm talking about Korean men.
Right. Yeah. So I'm sure like the amount of hate that you get versus the amount of hate that I get is going to be totally different.
Oh yeah, 100%. I actually just recently had a conversation with one of my Korean friends, and she was like, I feel like if I sat on TikTok and said the exact same things that you were saying, I wouldn't get half the hate that you get.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It's like that Eminem thing of like, oh, I'm a white rapper, so of course I'm going to be more popular than like the other black rappers, even though we're saying the same exact content, or not the same exact, but like we're making gangster rap.
Yeah.
But he's going to be so much more successful than his black counterparts. It's like it comes from like a point of privilege. Like I can speak shit about Korean men all I want, and people are going to be like, oh, well, he's a Korean man, so you can talk shit about that. Right. But if it comes from any other source, like a Korean woman or whatever, then people are going to be like,
why? Because at the end of the day, I'm still experiencing it.
Right.
So why can't I speak on my experience?
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, that comment section, it was fine, but just that one person was just like, you know?
Does it ever make you feel like you want to pull back on that content as well? Because you don't want to be known as like Korean hating.
I don't. Like, I have so many other things to talk about.
Right.
But, I mean, people also just think, like, I've gotten comments where it's like, all you ever talk about is Korean men. And every single time I tell them, please scroll through my content. I talk like once every blue moon about if you are only seeing me on your timeline talking about Korean men, that's on you. That's your algorithm.
You built this FYP, yes.
Like, I do so much stuff. Like, my main thing is like giving advice to the girlies, like where to go to get your hair done, or like just lifestyle. But sometimes I also talk about Korean men.
Right.
And if that's the only time you see my face, that's you. That's nothing to do with me. And before you comment saying, oh, you ever talk about as Korean men, just look at my content.
Right.
Scroll. It takes 2 seconds. And then I don't have to lose brain cells reading that comment, and you don't have to embarrass yourself because it's that easy to fact check exactly that.
Well, there you go. Okay. How do I segue out of this conversation?
Oh my God, sorry.
No, it's fine. Because I know that like we are putting ourselves out there, and that can be both good because other people can relate to it and they can know that they're not alone in this, and they can find some sort of camaraderie through that. They can feel seen. But on the other hand, you're also exposing yourself to a lot of really hateful people.
Right.
And, so it just comes par for the course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. Yeah. It's, I just think like, yes, you can critique my content. Yes, you can not like my content, but have some points ready for why you think things are a certain way. Because if it's not correct, then it's like, because another thing I see a lot is like, oh, her content annoys me. I don't like her. There's something about her that I don't like. And I'm always just like, but you can't dislike someone for no reason. There has to be a reason. And if you can't speak on why you don't like someone, it's usually either racism or sexism, internalized misogyny, or like all three.
I know that you also got a lot of comments like about your race as well. Like, even though you tried to clear it up in the first podcast, you got like a little bit more comments in there as well about like, oh, she's biracial, she's not black, she's biracial. I'm like,
yeah, that's another thing. Which again, I'm glad that I'm not like a little teenager making these videos, because I think that would, now that I'm like a full grown adult, like I know who I am, and people telling me online what I am and what I'm not isn't gonna change what I think I am. But what's frustrating for me is like, if I sat here and I was like, oh, I'm not black, I'm mixed, people would go crazy. They'd be like, what are you talking about? You're black, you must hate your black side. They would say that I'm self-hating.
Oh, yes.
So then it's like, okay, so I can't...
You can't win.
Yeah, you can't win.
Right.
And then it's even just like, look at Barack Obama.
Right.
He's more white than I am. He has a white mom.
White mom, okay.
So are you saying America's never had a black president. No one has ever said Barack Obama's not black. And that's also something that I noticed where it's like people who tend to be darker, who are still mixed. Imagine if I was like, I took completely after my dad and I said I'm black. Everyone would just be like, yeah, of course she is. But I can't, you know, control my skin tone. But then look at someone like Tyler, who is slightly darker, but still a little ambiguous. And she came out and she was like, I'm not black, I'm colored, because in South Africa, that's her racial identity. And people came for her and they were like, why don't you want to be black? And like, she still like has kind of a bad reputation based off of those comments.
Do you know?
She's multi-ethnic. Me and her have like very similar ethnic
diverse.
Yeah, like breakdowns, like black, white, and South Asian.
Oh, interesting.
So by the way, also I'm not biracial. That's black and white. I'm multi-ethnic.
Okay.
And there's so many like different aspects and facets of being multi-ethnic. The way I see it is like I'm a black multi-ethnic person.
Interesting. Tyler doesn't say, she said that she's not black. Specifically, she said, I'm not black. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think like when it comes to race and especially mixed race, it's like very difficult. And I don't want to sit here and be like, you guys don't understand what it's like to be mixed. But like, that's what I get. Like all the black people that say you're not black, it's like, but that's how the world sees me. That's how I grew up. Like, I grew up being called a monkey. I grew up being called the N-word. If ever there was someone being racist towards me, never would they say anything about my Croatian heritage. Never would they say anything about my Pakistani heritage. It's always, you're an N-word. So I'm not, it's not like I can hide behind those other ethnicities.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do understand like the certain level of like privilege that proximity to whiteness brings me. I'm not like blind to that, but at the same time, like that's how I see myself, which is a black person that also has like other ethnicities and other cultures like influencing her.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know, but Croatian is my first language, and I was like raised Croatian. I would say like in some sense culturally I am Croatian.
Okay.
My Nigerian dad like wasn't around growing up, so if anything I've had to like overcompensate my blackness in that sense.
Okay.
So
is it like a cultural thing as well? Because like I feel like in America, if you have a little bit of black in you, people like identify as they call themselves black. So like I know that Logic calls himself black.
I know that comes from like slavery times with the one drop rule. And it's actually the Americans that say like they're the ones that mainly say you're not black.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And I would understand if I was a quarter black, like Logic.
Right.
And I had blonde hair, blue eyes, and I sat here and I was like, yes, I'm black, but like I'm not. Like I'm visibly, you can tell that I'm black mixed with other things. But you would never sit here and be like, she's white mixed with something else. You would never sit here and say she's Pakistani mixed with something else. I'm black mixed with other things.
For like for me, it's super easy because I'm full Korean, but I was born and I grew up in America, so I say I'm just Korean American.
Right.
So then when people ask you in Europe, what ethnicity are you? What do you answer?
Black.
Okay, and in the States, what would you answer?
I honestly, I think, because it's like, it depends how it's asked.
Okay.
Because where are you from? I'm from Switzerland.
Oh,
right? So it's a little bit more nuanced.
Okay. But if they say, what ethnicity are you?
Oh.
What do you say?
Then when I can sense that they specifically want to like know the breakdown, then I'll give them the like racial breakdown.
Right. Oh, my father. Yeah. Okay.
But when it comes to like general, like, if I want to answer quickly, it's just black. Like,
Okay.
if I don't want to, like, get into the whole, like,
right, you don't want to tell your life story to someone who just met you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, honestly, my answer will always be different, depending. But, yeah. So, for me, it's laughable in a way, because those same people that, especially like in America, because of slavery, most black people have a certain level of white in them, like 20%. So it's like, at what stage, like at what percentage are you counted as black? Is it 80%? So are you saying someone who's 79% is not black? Like, if we start splitting hairs like that, things don't make sense anymore. So I just think that let the people who look black, you can tell that they're black, maybe mixed with something else. Let them just identify how they want.
I'm down for that. Sure.
I think it's just weird telling someone online, like, you're not black.
You're not black, or you're not black enough. Okay.
Whew.
Awesome. When did Tyler say she wasn't black? Was that like in the...
I think it was like an interview or something. I don't remember, but I remember reading articles about it, and then she kind of had like almost like backpedaled and had to be like, guys, of course I'm black.
Yeah, because
like,
I had never heard of like her speak. I've only heard her that one song. Yeah. And then I heard her in an interview or something, and she had like an Indian accent. Or
it's a South African.
South African accent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's weird because interesting. Okay, well, I thought that was like an Indian accent or something, but that was when like I learned that she was like multi-ethnic and stuff like that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but people now are kind of canceling her because of
that.
No, at the VMAs like yesterday, she like held a trophy and she was like, guys, I'm so tiny, can you hold this? And she gave it to Lil Nas X, and then people were just like, she's like a pick-me, and someone called her an uppity African girl. Yeah.
Damn, okay.
So I think the whole like, I'm not black, this didn't help her, and now it's like she's kind of like pushed herself away from the African-American side, even though she's trying to break in America.
Okay.
Damn. But yeah, you didn't watch the VMAs?
No, I don't have no idea. I have no idea how I would watch that.
I've seen clips online.
Oh, like on TikTok and stuff?
Yeah, they had K-pop in the VMA, which is crazy because I've been watching the VMAs for years, and now they have Lisa performed.
Oh.
Yeah, Lisa performed and Le Seraphim performed.
Oh, really?
As well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they both won awards.
Oh, okay. Good for them.
Yeah, it's becoming a lot more global.
Yeah. So, like, Lisa, would you consider her like a K-pop artist? She's just a pop artist, don't you think? You don't think so?
I mean, that's where she started from.
Right.
She's probably trying to branch out now with like, well, her new song is like English. She's not singing in Korean anymore.
Right. She's not singing Korean.
I don't know actually, because
what award did she win? Was it like new artist or
best song? I don't know.
Best song?
Something like that.
Okay.
Or maybe best K-pop artist. I don't know. But I think she is classed as a K-pop artist.
K-pop art. Oh, that's interesting. Because I know that there are some like groups out there that don't have a Korean. Oh, there's that one group that doesn't have a Korean member, but they say that they're Black Swan. Okay. So
I mean, they sing in Korean.
They sing in Korean.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I would consider that K-pop.
Yeah. They dance, sing, like, I think K-pop is like the style.
You're right. It's like the whole package of dancing, singing, entertainment.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know that they sang in Korean. Because I was thinking they just call themselves K-pop, but they don't have a Korean member. They don't have a like Korean lyrics. I would be like a little bit more wary about calling yourself K-pop. But didn't they have a Korean member and they left or something like that?
They had two. They had two Korean members.
Oh, okay. So they had origins with like K-pop. Then I would still say that they're K-pop for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. There's also Cat's Eye.
Ah, yes.
Love.
They've been on my FYP.
Really?
Yeah, a lot.
Ah.
Huh. What do you think about them?
I love them. I watched their documentary. I almost made a video because I was seeing a lot of like racism towards the black member.
Okay.
She's half white, half black, but you know, that white side didn't save her from racism that was being put towards her. Also, she's Swiss, so I'll always.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I'll
always defend
That's
my
cool.
fellow Swiss girls. Let me just put the shades.
Oh,
on,
for sure.
like,
No problem.
we'll just cut this.
Yeah, like Cat's Eye has been. They've actually been around for. Because I thought they were brand new, but they've kind of been around a little bit.
Cat's Eye?
I think so.
No.
No? Are they just totally brand new?
You're thinking of Black Swan. Black
Okay.
Swan has been around for a while, but they used to have a different name.
Okay.
Rania, BP.
Okay. I know I'm so out of touch
Out of
with.
touch, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they used to have another black member, and then she left. And then I think they decided to like disband the group, but like kind of rename it, recast it. So that's probably who you're thinking of. But Cat's Eye just dropped.
Can I get you a little bit?
Sorry.
Yeah, positioned into the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cat's Eye, they did a Netflix documentary, and the whole idea about it was to make like a global girl group, but using the K-pop training system.
Yes, they're under the Hybe label, I believe. Yes,
they are.
Yeah.
So they just went on, I think, Music Bank or Inkigaya or one of those shows.
Yeah, one of those.
They have one Korean member.
Yes.
But they sing in English.
Yes.
So, but their class is K-pop.
Yeah.
They performed at KCON.
Yeah.
So that's like, it's exciting to see like the future of K-pop and seeing it expand versus like even just like 5, 6, 7 years ago, how like unknown it was. Like I remember trying to show my friends BTS and they were just like, why are you showing me these like...
In their like prime years, like 2016, 2017?
Yeah.
And they were not into it, even though they were
just
like...
what the hell is this? What are you showing us? Why are they wearing makeup? Like blah, blah, blah. Those same friends now are just like, oh my God, I love K-dramas. I love K-pop. Like I want to come visit you in Korea. So I was ahead of the game.
Yeah, like the K wave, the Korean drama, like not drama, the Korean culture wave has been like kind of taking over in a way that I didn't expect. Like who was it? It was ASAP Rocky was watching Queen of Tears.
Oh.
Like Queen of Tears of all shows, he was watching that with his family. I'm like, really? Okay, that's cool. ASAP Rocky, okay, interesting. Yeah. But did you see what was going on with NewJeans?
I've seen snippets of their live stream.
Okay. I think that like this is like, I don't want to be like the doomsday guy, like being like, oh, this is the end. But I really feel like this is signaling kind of a downward trend of like K-pop culture. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm so over Korean content and like the romanticization of Korean culture. Like when I look at my FYP and it's like another cafe video, another club tour, another bar tour or whatever, I'm so like over that. Even stuff with K-pop and K-dramas, I used to be super excited for that stuff. Now I'm just like, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to see it. I don't know if that's just me, but how do you feel about kind of like the, what's the word, languishness, like just feeling burnt out? Are you burnt out of Korean culture at all? Korean content at all?
No.
Not
I mean, I just see it as lifestyle.
Okay.
I mean, I live in Korea, so Korean content is just content to me.
Right.
And it would be the same as if I was living in London and someone was like, come with me to this trendy London cafe type of thing.
I feel like it's because Korea is such a small community, it's always the same kind of content of I'm going to Olive Young, I'm going to, here's my favorite skincare, my favorite blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, I've seen variations of these 100 times over the past 3-4 years, and I'm just so over it. So circling back to NewJeans, I feel like NewJeans was supposed to be the one group that was going to like revitalize and rekindle kind of like the Korean wave in America. Because
they did a lot.
They did a lot, especially in their first couple of years.
Oh my! I remember when OMG came out, and like people who've never even listened to K-pop were like doing the dance and doing the song.
Really?
I remember.
It's like the TikTok generation.
Yeah, and I remember being in America and hearing it on the radio, and hearing K-pop on the radio is still kind of like, oh my god, like it's on the radio. I think also like now a lot of these K-pop companies are having their members sing like in English, like especially like NewJeans. A lot of their songs are like mostly in English with like a couple of words in
like
Korean.
Just to remind you, hey, this is K-pop.
Yeah, this is K-pop. We're Korean. But it's sad to see. I hope they don't disband.
Right.
My whole thing is like, because I've seen videos of people being like, oh, they're so stupid. They're being manipulated by Min Hee-jin. And I'm just like, maybe we don't know
the full story.
Yeah, like the behind the scenes, the contracts, all of that stuff. I
believe it was
for someone like they've had like such a like uphill trajectory.
Yeah.
For you to jeopardize all of that.
Yeah.
I think something huge has to be going on that we don't know. For them to sit down and publicly say, we demand this from HYBE.
Right. So just to give a little bit of context here, basically their CEO and I want to say like main music producer, Min Hee-jin, she was basically forced to step down as CEO by their parent company HYBE. And basically the promise was that she was going to continue producing music for NewJeans. But I don't know, some politics going on inside there, but basically they're like, NewJeans was basically saying that they're being blocked from making music with her. And so like if you look at Min Hee-jin's discography, it's like it's their biggest hits. It's like OMG, it's like Super Shy, it's ETA, it's not Attention, but like most of their biggest hits all come from her. And she is basically their sound. And so to not have her is to basically die, because those girls aren't making their own music. They're not the ones writing their own lyrics.
Well, I think they are. I think that's part of it, where she would allow them certain creative freedoms. If you look at if you do look at the discographies, certain members have had like they've written the lyrics, so you don't. I'm gonna
have to double check that, but
so it could be where like the CEOs now are like, no, you this is the sound, this is the lyrics, this is what you're going to do. And maybe that's why they're like, hey, what the hell, like we want like a part of this creating process. And I think they even said something like that in the live stream.
So that live stream, it didn't seem like it was like a first response or a second response to what was going down. That felt like this was, they had no other option but to make that video, to make their voices heard. To me, that sounded like they tried to go up to management, they tried to go up to the CEO and try to make their voices heard, but they were dismissed, and they're being like, okay, well, if you're not going to listen after months and months of us trying to get us back on track, then you've left us no other option but to like air out all the dirty laundry out there. So I'm more sympathetic to their cause. It feels like, I'm always down for like, the little guy fighting against, the big bad corporation. But I don't know if it's going to be like the move that gets them back on track. Just going rogue and making, what do they call it? Guerrilla live stream. That's such a good term. A guerrilla live stream where they're just airing out all their dirty laundry. Like, oh, this manager told their idols to totally ignore us, like in front of my face. That's straight up disrespectful. And I'm glad that she's standing up for herself and speaking for herself. That's great, especially for how young she is and how scary that must be to have like the whole company against her. But this, because of how young she is, it does seem kind of rash.
Yeah.
In like, this is unprecedented. This is not how politics works. But yeah, I don't know.
But then again, we don't know the
full story. Yeah.
We only know what it's being shown to us right now.
But so to go back to like my original point, I think like this is going to be a turning point, starting with like the downward trend of like the Korean dominance in like the West. Because when we look at like what's really been keeping Korean culture alive in the West, it was started with Psy's Gangnam Style back in 2012, 2013. And then it was picked up by like Blackpink and then BTS and then Parasite came out and then Squid Game came out.
I think the pandemic definitely helped. That's when like Korea started pumping out the content.
All the content, and so people are staying home, watching more stuff. So Physical 100 and Singles Inferno and these types of shows and dramas, like they kind of perpetuated, like kept the relevance of Korean culture. And in terms of music, I don't know if anybody has the same pull as BTS anymore. If there was going to be one group, it was going to be NewJeans. And now that's almost, I'm practically dead in the water at this point.
You think?
I think so. I feel like their last single was not that good, was not making a whole lot of waves.
Really?
Yeah, not on the level that they should be, you know? So the end is near.
I hope it all works out for them, because I really do like them, and I like their sound, and I like the music, and just that whole lore.
The underdogs.
Yeah. Well, I have a list of things.
Oh.
Shall we end the podcast with a little game?
Oh, okay. I'm down for a game.
What Korean guys really mean, dating edition.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So when I first came to Korea, that was something I had to learn very quickly, how like a lot of context is like you have to read between the lines.
Oh, yeah.
Just to preface, like when I first came here, there was a guy who like on the street came up to me. This was like one of the reasons why I don't give my number out anymore in Korea, and you shouldn't either, as a woman. And he was like, oh, you know, I just want a language exchange.
Oh my God. Dude, that's such a classic pickup line.
What
of
does
like,
it mean?
I'm looking for a Korean, I'm looking for an English speaking partner.
Yeah, so I wasn't used to that.
No
it's
way.
like, if you're going to say language exchange, I'm going to think you want to language exchange.
Yeah.
What does it mean, Sam?
That means...
What does language exchange mean?
That means I'm trying to like get to know you better, and I'm using our language as a way to like, it's an in. I feel like that's a legit pickup line, honestly. Like, I know that
if
people,
you're in the know,
I think like, when people come to Korea and they're like very earnest about learning Korean, I'm sure they're super excited to find somebody to be like, oh yeah, a language partner, yes, that's exactly what I need. But the guy's thinking, I like this girl, I want to try like date them. I don't think they're ever looking for like an English speaking partner.
There's just, why can't they just say it? Like, hey, I want to, you know, learn more about you, learn English as well, but I am slightly interested in you.
Because he'll be shot down, probably.
Well, then so then just lie.
But she didn't shoot him down when they were going to be language partners.
Yeah, because we didn't know the full context.
But dude, he's going to find any sort of in to get in there. Like, just get your foot in the door, and then you're getting in there. Yep.
So when that happened to me, we would be texting.
Yeah.
I thought, this is my Korean language partner.
Right.
And
he sent you like his ass. Like, what are we talking about here?
My God. No, nothing like that.
Okay.
Thank God. He one day asked me like, oh, what are you up to? And at the time I was living with a roommate, and he asked me do you live alone?
Oh.
What does that mean, Sam?
Well, I mean, just means, it's a very innocuous question. It's just, do you live alone? Do you need someone to help you if you have trouble? You can just call me anytime.
What does it really mean?
It means like, yo, are you an easy target to like sleep with and throw away if anything happens?
Oh, really?
Probably. Like, well, if you hear somebody being like, hey, do you live alone?
Yeah.
That's like, or same thing as like, do you have any Korean friends? Like it's got like a little bit of a sinister undertone to that of like, is there anybody that can protect you?
I didn't know about that one.
Well, I'm being a little bit more cynical.
Yeah.
But that's not something that I would feel safe like answering. I would like straight up lie and be like, yeah, I have a roommate, or yeah, I'm here with my family, or yeah, I have like some Korean friends from work or whatever.
So my impression of the do you live alone thing was he's saying, I want to sleep with you, but I don't want to have to pay for a motel. So I'm hoping that we can just do it here and you can be like a cheap lay.
Oh, that's obviously. Yeah.
For me, it's that. And for me, that's the most disrespectful one. Like you can't do 20,000 won an hour motels.
Motels are 20,000 won?
Something like that.
That's crazy. Okay. Yeah. You don't want to hang out with someone who like just wants to do it at your place. That's like almost a guarantee that you're a side piece. 1,000%. Because like why not just bring the girl to your house? If I was trying to,
it's like because they live with their parents. Like in Korea, it's very normal, right?
One rooms are cheaper. I feel like in this generation, it's a lot easier for you to live in a one room. Like obviously there are gonna be Korean men who like just came back from the military. They don't have jobs yet. They're still in college or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of them are gonna be. It's normal to live with your parents, but it's also very common for you to move out and get a one room and get a part-time job to pay for that stuff too. Yeah, dude. If I was trying to like woo a woman, pick up a woman, I wouldn't be like, hey, let's fuck at your place. Like, no, I'd be like, dude, just like, if I'm trying to impress you, come to my place. Right?
Yeah. I think he didn't have his own place.
Okay.
But, so after that, again, I didn't know. So I was like, oh, I have a roommate. Haha.
Thank God. Okay.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I wonder what your room looks like. Again, I thought, oh my God, he wants to see.
I wonder what your room looks like.
I thought he wanted to see my room. So I was like, oh my God, it's kind of messy. I can't take a picture. I thought he wanted a picture of my room.
Okay.
And then later I showed my Korean friend and she was like, he was asking to come over.
Oh, okay. That didn't even register in my mind.
It didn't with me either. But she like immediately knew. She's like, ew, like block him right now. Like he's being so creepy. And this whole time, like all of this is like flying over my head. Like the whole like, do you live alone? Like language exchange, all of that.
Yeah.
So ever since then, like I have very limited interactions with Korean men anyway. But
sure.
Yeah, you have to read between the lines.
Interesting.
Is there anything else? Well, what do they really mean? What else? Are you open-minded?
Are you open-minded means... Oh my God, dude. Okay, solo. Okay. So I have I don't know if I should say her nationality. But okay, so I have a kpop friend that studied overseas for a long time. She has a Korean citizenship and she was born in Korea, whatever. She came to Korea after a long time and... she was planning to live here again.
Yeah.
And she said, hey, I'm kind of lonely. She asked her cousin, do you have someone that, you can introduce me to? And she was like, yeah. So she asked her boyfriend to set my friend up with like his friend, right? So basically it's like, it's 2 steps removed. Someone that I trust is introducing to somebody.
Yeah.
Right. And typically that's how you meet, that's how couples are made here. It's like, you do introductions and verifications and stuff like that. On their first date, he found out that like, she went to school in, in Australia and all that stuff. And so at the end of the date, he was like, hey, so you want to go to a motel after this? Like, dude, like you can't say that stuff. And the reasoning for that was because he was like, oh, you're from Australia, so you must be more open-minded about sex, right? About sleeping with people, about one-night stands. And the blowback that he got from that, she was like super pissed off at him, obviously.
As she should.
As she should. And so like she like broke it off, she blocked him, and then she told her cousin, and her cousin got super angry at her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then her boyfriend got super mad at him.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened there, but like apparently he was like not ostracized, but he got a bunch of blowback from all of his friends. Like, yo, this is a Korean woman. Like, why the hell? This was a friend of my girlfriend's. Why are you acting like a piece of shit to her?
Which is why a lot of Korean men want to find like a foreign girl specifically where something like that can't happen when they act badly.
Right.
There's no blowback.
Right. Exactly. But there was blowback that time. So he was like, I have no idea what was going through that guy's head because one, she's Korean. Two, she's not a random hookup like that you met on Tinder or at the club or whatever. So like, what is going through your mind that made you think that was okay to say?
That's insane.
That's crazy. Okay. But I guess he was a little bit too hopeful for that.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes guys just like are very one-track minded. And something that I keep hearing, this is like, I've heard multiple times now from like foreign girls and Korean girls where they would go on a date with a guy.
Yeah. And
when they have a car, by the way, I would never say like for a first date, get in a guy's car. But They did. And these guys would drive them to a motel without asking, without discussing.
Oh my God.
They're supposed to be going on a date and he drives them wordlessly to a motel.
Without, oh my God. Not even at like the end of the day.
That's the thing.
That's terrible. I've never heard that before.
I've heard it from multiple people. And yeah.
Okay. Wait, so if you were in that situation, what do you do from there?
Cuss him out.
Okay.
I would get out, like obviously
get out of the car. Right.
And go home.
Okay.
The last girl that told me about this was Korean.
Okay.
But they had met at a club. So I think he must have thought, I met her at a club, so she's like, you know,
DTF.
this yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even though they had met like at a club like the week prior. It wasn't like straight from the club to a motel.
Okay, yeah.
It's weird. So, but she was like really too nice about it. She was just like, oh, you know, like we're not even dating.
That sucks.
Like I want to get to know you first. And I was like, that's like so disrespectful.
Yeah.
You should be like leaving.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he already doesn't respect you, doesn't know you.
She was too nice about it. She didn't get out of the car.
Yeah.
Oh. How do you even like, did she go on a date with him afterwards?
She did.
That's crazy. Yeah. Why would you do that? Yeah. Oh my god. I feel like at some point you have to take some accountability. No, you need to have some accountability and be like, okay, no, that's a total red flag.
Yep.
Man. Okay. That's okay. We gotta cut it a little bit early this time around. Yes. It's the holidays. So do you have any Happy Chuseok, happy Korean Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Are you doing anything special for the holidays?
I'm leaving the country.
Word. Okay. Word, yeah. The best holiday of Korea, and you're just like, I'm out of here.
See you later.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell the people where you're gonna go, just in case people like stalk you or anything like that?
Oh, I'll be in Japan. I mean, by the time this episode comes out, I'll be like midway through tanning on a beach.
Dope.
Because apparently I'm too pale, so
okay.
You won.
Okay. Yeah, my parents are in the States now, so no reason to go down. Friendsgiving. I'm gonna be meeting up with some old friends. I've been neglecting them way too much. Ooh. So I gotta make that annual appearance to be like salvage this relationship. Alive. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'll see you some other time. See you guys later.
In the next episode.
Bye.
Cool.
All right.